5, 6, 7, 8. Why you gotta lie so much? You must wake up and just make up stuff. Cause I just do not understand why every time you talk, you tell a quick lie. You and your lies gotta go because I'm tired of talking to Pinocchio. Then you had a nerve to look folks in the eyes, knowing that you telling them lies. You be telling them lies. I asked you about this. Yeah, you lied about it. I asked you about that. Yeah, you lied about it. Get them lies together, they all over the place. I bet if Jesus came back, you a lie to his face. Damn, P-O-G-Yo. I guess you wanna see how far your nose can grow. I said, P-No-G-Yo. I guess you wanna see how far your nose can grow. Now, boo! Let's go. Start telling all them lies, number one. Let's go. Cause I don't believe that you say at this point. Cause all you do is lie, lie, lie. Lie, lie, lie. Lie, 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 lie. Mama!
What's up, good Veepo? Let me know that you can hear me in the chat by typing bind it in the name of Jesus, bind these technical issues. I apologize for my tardiness again. This wasn't my fault. This wasn't my fault at all. The computer literally froze like it did yesterday, 5 minutes before we were going live. I've been on my computer all day. Been getting work done. I called myself clearing it out a little bit, but I was trying to be strategic and organizing the files as I was moving them out of the computer. And so I didn't get a lot done. And obviously it let me know I didn't get enough done. So quickly I was trying to mass move them in bulk to one of my external drives. And that takes forever. I think I cleared us enough, but just in case we gotta back it up with some prayer. We gotta back it up with some binding. In the name of Jesus, that we will get through this live without tech issues. And then over the next couple days, I get this computer together so we can then, have good, clean shenanigans without all the normal issues. Well, I ain't gonna say normal issues, without these new issues. of the computer. But thank you to everyone who's letting me know that you can hear me. Special shout out to our channel members. I see Marianne there. I see Deshaun. I see Miss his brother MJ. I see Terry Bland and Donna Hammond and Saint Center and anyone else I may be missing, and all the rest of you. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button if you haven't. I didn't get a chance to put that poll out because all of a sudden I was trying to problem solve tech issues. And then I couldn't find my trailer that I normally play for regular lives. Can't find it. It won't pop up. So I had to give y'all a little something to hold y'all till I was ready. But thank y'all for joining. So what we're going to do tonight, because we got to get through this topic. We got so much other stuff happening that I was like, I can't get to the other topics. We got to get through this because we started this last night and it's a very interesting topic. And so we want to get through the mysterious death and the family feud timeline of John Amos's children, that being KC and Shannon Amos. And so on last night, we put out this first poll question of the evening. Hopefully everything. I think I got enough clothes that we should be fine. And then I'll just try to make sure we already got the article open. Pray for us, y'all, because I don't know. There's going to be testing the limits when I start playing videos and stuff. Processor going to be like, what the hell you doing? You ain't clear enough. Poll question is going out. Were you here with us live last night? So on last night, we discussed quite a bit. We were here like an hour and a half before we started having technical issues. We discussed the unfortunate passing of John Amos at the age of 84. We also discussed the fact that his announcement of his passing was delayed 45 days by his son, Casey Amos. And no one was aware of his passing except for his two cronies and the immediate family, including his daughter, his brother, John Amos's daughter, his brother, his grandchildren, his niece, his business manager, his accountant, and other close friends. None of them knew for 45 days that he was no longer on this side of heaven. Then we read over the death certificate. We also then, which talked about he passed away from congestive heart failure, although there was no autopsy. That was an illness he had before. I did watch the replay to put the timestamps on earlier today. So I did see your chat comments that I was missing yesterday. And I saw some of you saying that that's the norm when someone has been diagnosed, especially when they're older age. So, okay, that makes sense. But there was no autopsy done. He was also cremated within, 8 or 9 days, y'all? He was cremated. John Amos was cremated by his son without any of the family getting able to say their final goodbyes on his last days, nor after he was gone. We also read the response to this heartbreaking news from his daughter, Shannon, and then also a separate message on the behalf of the immediate family who were outraged by Casey's deceit and suspicious activities regarding hiding the passing of his father for 45 days and having him cremated with nobody even being around. Then we also discussed the allegations of elder abuse against Casey Amos and Casey's attempt to put the same allegations on his sister, Shannon, who lives in another country and had very little physical interaction with her dad. She would see him, I think, a couple times a year, if that, and talk to him on the phone and stuff. How's that? How's she able to do the elder abuse? You the one around him every day on TikTok. I don't know. Then we started to touch on the allegations of Casey's alleged substance abuse and mental health issues that his father was on an audio recording talking about openly. It was a secret recording, but he did talk about his son having substance abuse issues and some of his mental health issues. So, and then we start having technical issues. So we'll watch that again today for those, if you didn't see it. If you haven't seen it before, because I've actually played it before last year when we covered this story. But we'll play it again this evening. Yeah, so we had technical issues. I think KC might have a mock-up voodoo doll of my computer, and he was stomping on it last night, and he saw the notification about the video, and he started stomping on it again 5 minutes before the live. So we'll see. He's somewhere in some random West Coast motel room with his voodoo computer putting pins in it. So bind that devil, y'all. Bind it. Poll question that's out here. Were you with us last night? 69% of you were, 31% of you were not. Okay, so that's good. We got 31% of you who I'm going to catch you up. If you weren't with us last night and you did not catch the replay, please check out that video. We're kind of taking off from a little further in, so you definitely still want to catch up on yesterday's video, so you're fully aware of this story, because we're going to keep covering this. I got a feeling this ain't it. I got a feeling there's going to be some more stuff happening. Next poll question is, have you watched many episodes of Good Times? I don't even know if I worded that. Now it sounds funny now that I'm reading it back. But basically, were you an avid watcher of the show Good Times back in the day? Depending. Some of y'all might have been grown. Some of y'all might have been teenagers. Some of y'all might have been kids like me. But were you a fan of it? So there's a clip that I actually forgot to share. I forgot to pull it in the live yesterday. So I thought about it this morning. I was like, wait a minute, I never shared this clip. So here's a clip from Bernadette, who was one of the cast members. She was Thelma on Good Times, and she sent her condolences to John Amos's children. So here's her clip.
I'm Bernadette Stannis. I'm sure you know by now that John Amos has passed, and it's a great loss to us. We love John, and on behalf of my castmates, Jimmy Walker, Ralph Carter, Janae Dubois and her family, Janet Jackson, and myself, we want to say condolences to Shannon and Casey, John's children. And we all know that we're going to miss him so much, and he is truly the TV dad of all times.
So that was Bernadette sending her condolences to both Casey and his sister Shannon. She obviously has no hard feelings or, about the situation. Maybe she's not even fully aware of the situation as we have become aware of it. I thought it was interesting. And somebody, who was that? Saint Center said that she looks good. She really does. She looks amazing. Also, she mentioned Janet Jackson, but it occurred to me, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but didn't Janet Jackson come on the show as Penny after John Amos's character was killed off? Like they weren't on the show together, were they? I could be wrong, but I feel like they were never on the show together. But I mean, it don't mean that she doesn't, say her condolences. But I thought it was kind of interesting that she would mention Janet Jackson. And then the other part was like, was she even on the show at the same time? Oh, y'all say, yes, she was. Okay, thank y'all. Okay, so she was. Huh. So what happened when her mama was burning her with that iron? Where was he at? Because I felt like the women were the ones kind of, well, maybe that's a old school matriarch kind of thing. The women are gonna protect the babies. Because I thought when she got burned by that iron, it was only women around. I don't remember seeing James Evans nowhere. No, okay, wait a minute. Y'all all over the place. Oh, come on now, y'all. It's already a rough night. Don't be confusing me. Hold on. Where we at? Hold on. Okay, Jazzy's saying you're correct. Yes, but before. I don't know. Yes, indeed. Hold on. Okay. Yes. No, they were never on the show together. That tripped me up too. Okay. James was dead by then. That's what I thought. Yes, she was on there with him. See, y'all, don't y'all do this. Y'all see, how about y'all congregate and talk about this together first, and then come to me with one answer, because y'all all over the place, literally. No, James died. Yes, Janet came after Jay. I think it was an after, because I think Penny came to fill in the space because James was gone and they needed more characters. They needed something to fill the space, and I feel like that's when the Penny storyline kind of came. Well, first wasn't it the injury? Wasn't it her fiance who was going to be the professional athlete? They had such horrible luck. He's going to be a professional athlete. Then he got an NFL player. Then he got injured right before he was signing some major deal. Then didn't Penny come after that? Because that storyline didn't last a long time, did it? I can't remember, y'all. I don't watch it present day. Like, I haven't really watched it in a few years, but I used to watch it. No, she was not. They did not appear in the same episode. Well, appear in the same iteration of the series. Not even episode. They were not on the show. Right, I didn't know James had that. Right, that's how they had killed them off. You need a poll. I just did a poll. Oh, wait, did I? No, that wasn't a poll for this. It's hard to do a poll for that. Let me move on. Y'all done get in my head, jacking me up. Okay, so 98% of y'all have watched it. So we talking about some true fans over here of that. Okay, I see all y'all comments. It look like we slowly getting on one accord. Y'all know I like us to be on one accord as much as possible. We ain't got to be no flying ants over here, but as much as possible with facts, I want us to be aligned. Next poll question coming your way as we move into this deeper into the show. This is new. Now, I shared this on Patreon last year. Now, some of y'all probably like, oh, they'll always talk about that Patreon. They don't be doing nothing over there. I watch over here on YouTube. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. Any of our Patreon executive people, let them know in the chat. It is not the same. Over on Patreon, I am able to be very transparent. I share a lot of personal things. I share, it's very unfiltered. Like YouTube, I can't use certain words. We can't talk about certain topics. We can't do after dark kind of conversation. We can't do adult conversation. We do all that over there on Patreon. So one of the things that happens on Patreon occasionally is I have stuff going on behind the scenes with people hitting me up, DMs, blah, 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 this and that. People of note or projects, coming up and da-da-da. So they know about these things. Y'all hear about it when it's like, oh, Vail on TV1 tonight. Meanwhile, they knew about it when I went on the trip and got flued out and was taping and filming, and they got vlogs and all kind of stuff. That's the difference between Patreon and the public side of YouTube. There's other stuff coming up. They already know about it. Y'all ain't gonna know about it for probably another 8 months plus. Join Patreon, patreon.com/IamVelB. Let me have it scroll across the bottom of the screen while we do this. So one of the things that occurred was Casey Anthony himself. Oh, poll questions I just put out. Do you think that Casey Anthony is touched? Y'all know when we was growing up, those of y'all who, my generation or older, y'all know what we used to say about certain people. Like, don't pay him no mind. He touched. Do you think? Oh, here it is. Okay. Do you think Casey Amos is touched? So way back when, last year sometime, KC, now I had did a video on him. This was October of last year. Dang, almost a year. It's basically a year ago. This is what I'm telling y'all. Gotta get on Patreon. A year ago, I shared this with our Patreon executive people. So I had did our original video about all this drama. Y'all know how I am. I'm gonna state my opinion. I know some people okay with it. Some people don't like it. They might unsubscribe. It is what it is. I'm gonna be me. I talked about this story and very much so gave my opinion on how trifling I thought Casey was and still is. And so he, months later, guess he ran across the video. I don't know how, or somebody shared it with him. I have no idea. But he saw the video and he hit me up in my Instagram DMs. So here is this in order? Oh, no, it's down here. Where's that? Here is the actual message. He says, is this thing on? oh, let me make sure my mic is good, y'all, because everything has been disconnected. Let me just make sure, because I'll be filling the ways if I watch the replay and be listen to the sound, be a fool. Anyway, this thing on? If you desire to talk smack, now this is KC to me. If you desire to talk smack and focus on destroying a man's character, then you should at very least have the decency to speak directly to the person whose reputation you are determined to trash. Now, mind you, at that point, I'm just reading articles. I'm reading what TMZ saying. I'm reading what the Daily Mail saying. Everybody and their mama was covering the story. And I literally was just reading that stuff and giving my commentary. He acting like I'm the one doing the investigative reporting. You have failed in your efforts, and our legal team, their legal team, is keeping a watchful eye on your page. Ooh. You have failed in your, my father and I are open to speak with you about your failed efforts to destroy my reputation. Like his dad really care. There is still time to change the road you are traveling on. He loves that cryptic ass phrase. Let us know once you realize the road you have chosen leads to a dead end, where the despicable, soulless creatures of this earth await you. Touched. So I then respond. And this is how you have to respond to people who touched. I've been around a lot of touched people in my lifetime. You don't meet the touched people where they are. You bring them up to your level. I say, hello, Casey. You can already see by my tone. Hello, KC. If you are interested in having a respectful, non-threatening, and honest conversation on my platform, I am open to giving you and your father an opportunity to share your side of the story during one of my future live stream broadcasts. Now, I was like this. For one, I ain't talking to you about yourself, KC. So if I can get the legendary John Amos on my channel, I'm down for that. Even if I got to deal with your crazy ass, I'm down with it. But it's going to have to be live because I ain't finna have you gaslighting on no edited video. It's going to be live so everybody can see you in your full form. And then I said, if that is acceptable to you and your father, because if John Amos wasn't coming, I wasn't dealing with it. You and your father, let me know what works best for the two of you. You see how many times I emphasize? Because I'm like, let's make it clear. If it ain't Mr. Amos with you, the legendary John Amos, I ain't got time for this. I said any date, November 7th through 11th, anytime after 5 p.m. Pacific. I did Pacific because they're on the West Coast. He then responds. This show, he was gaslighting. I think that first message was supposed to intimidate me. He talking about a team of lawyers or something or other. I think I was supposed to be intimidated, and I responded like, oh, if you want to come talk about it and be respectful, then I'm down for it as long as your daddy coming too. He's like, oh, that didn't scare him away. Oops. So then he comes with, we're waiting for the Hollywood Reporter article to drop first in a couple weeks, which focuses on the documentary America's Dad, which my father and I have been working on the last 2 years. So this is the documentary that he also mentioned in the death announcement of his father. You see, he's very hell-bent on promoting this documentary. We're about to find out more about what the Hollywood Reporter actually said, because what I didn't see is promotion of the documentary. It was mention of it, but I ain't see them promoting it. And of course, the Hollywood Reporter will cover the drama that unfolded this summer as well. I have Good Morning America and a few other syndicated rounds to make. I don't know if he ever made it on Good Morning America. Did y'all ever see him on Good Morning America? I don't think them producers are going to deal with that kind of crazy. Reputation repair, when under treacherous scrutiny, is just about as precarious as the work of those who try to undermine the reputation. Girl, what? We plan to take our time. like 45 days after your father passed kind of time. Luckily, I have been documenting every move every day since doing the discovery early in the year. We will touch bases after making the rounds and see if there's any stones still left on the playing field that may need tending to. Girl, I thought you said I didn't got the facts and you want to be able to have the opportunity to tell me the facts yourself. Now we've gone all these places in the media, and if there's no stones on the playing field, then we come. Girl, if you don't quit gaslighting, kind of crackhead statements, allegedly. Oh, then I forgot about this. So then, let me make sure. Oh, I should have did it up from over here. Hold on. That the same? Yeah, okay. Oh, I got it duplicated here. That's the problem. Okay, so then I get, so that was that. I was like, he's gaslighting, whatever. I'm done. I didn't even respond. I didn't even bother responding. Then he sends a message at some point later. I feel like it was a couple weeks later because I never responded. And then it's this. It's actually, it was a screenshot. Basically, no, it was him sharing a post he put on his Instagram. I don't follow him like that. It says, hashtag white privilege is real. The media would much rather shoot through the grease. These two been on the run since I showed up on Halloween night of 2022. West Cliff, Colorado. Hashtag Fraud Town USA. Internet, do your thing. He tags TMZ. He tagged CNN. He tagged People's Magazine. He tagged Fox Soul. He tagged the LA Times and the Hollywood Reporter. And he shared it with me. He ain't tagged me. But he shared it with me in my DMs. And here's the video that I forgot I didn't pull that in. Yeah, I know I was having tech issues, so hold on. Let's get this video. Oh, Lord, wait. Did I ever bring it in? Did I do what I need to do with it? Oh, here it is. Then he sends this cryptic-ass video.
You recognize them? The two perps. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I can't remember ever seeing them other people.
I was drinking last night with a biker, and I showed him a picture of you. I said, "Now get to know you like her." Seemed like the least I could do.
I can't remember ever seeing them other people.
Oh, I cut it off at the end, but it says you can run, but you cannot hide. So allegedly, these random ass white folk is supposed to be. This is what I mentioned last night to y'all, where I said he sent me a message about some random white folk and gave not nan detail. He tagging CNN, TMZ, People Magazine, Fox Soul, LA Times, and the Hollywood Reporter, yet ain't gave nan bit of details on what these people have done. And having your dad say this one little sentence of words, he could have thought he was acting in that moment. He could have thought he was reading a script, which is probably what you told him, allegedly. Dad, you got this script for this new movie. Read this part here. Those are the perps right there. Don't recognize all of them, just the two. Girl, if you don't quit playing our face. So he sends this cryptic message. Allegedly, who Shannon, his sister's talking about, ain't him. It's these random people. Why Shannon ain't mentioned these people? And again, if these are the people with the issue, these are the thieves, these are the people with the elder abuse and the financial abuse of your father, why aren't you giving details? Why aren't you saying this was his housekeeper, this was his business manager, they were the ones in charge of him, they are the ones who had his house in squalor. Between this date and this date, they stole money, they stole this much money, they stole his trophies, they did this, they They would bring no details. You just pointing at some random people. Internet, do your work. We have been. That's why everybody looking at you side eye. This can't be real. Poll question with closing out. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. But you know, that's how those people be, the ones who have those substance issues. And I ain't saying he do, but people have said it. People in his life have said it. I ain't saying he do. I'm just repeating what they said. But people with substance abuse, y'all know they be just saying stuff and doing crazy stuff and thinking you believe in they stories that they making up that's real in their head. Poll question we're closing out. Do you think that Casey Amos is touched? 88% of y'all say yes. 12% of y'all say no because y'all ain't got discernment. It's okay. Stick around. Y'all will gain some discernment around here. There's some critical thinking skills. I love y'all, though. I love y'all. It takes all kind to make the world go round. Got to have some suckers in the world. No, let me stop. Let me stop. Next poll question. Have you read the November 2023 Hollywood Reporter article about the John Amos children feud origins? So the timeline, and now we're moving into that. The timeline of how the heck did we get here? How only two siblings, a girl and a boy, I think she the older sister, younger brother. How the hell they can't get together, got a famous daddy? How that happened? We about to get into it. So now KC told us in my DMs. Now y'all already know I know the end of the story, but I'm gonna play along. Go with me on this journey. KC told me in my DMs a year ago that the Hollywood Reporter was working on the article. They had interviewed them, and they were about to put out an article to promote his documentary, America's Dead. America's Dead. And it is a project that him and his daddy been working on for 2 years. The Hollywood Reporter did, in fact, I think it was a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks after he sent me that message. Sure enough, Hollywood Reporter had an article out. I don't think it looked like he thought it was going to look, though. So let's dig into that. Because every once in a while, I read an article and I'm like, this is like a movie script. This is magic. Who wrote this? Gary Baum. Gary Baum, you did an amazing job with this article. I tell you, your investigative reporting is Pulitzer Prize worthy. I tell you. Hold on, now we got ads. Computer not slowing down. Is okay. We good. Okay, now let's try. You know what? Let me delete these videos I played. We're just not gonna take no chance with nothing. We don't need these videos no more. Let's not overwhelm the system. Hold on. Oh, it's froze just that quick. I bind you. I tell you, I bind you. Okay, now we're about to share the article on the screen. See, we're freezing already. I wonder if it's something with the computer and StreamYard. I think the bandwidth that StreamYard needs is making a problem. Oh, see, it's delaying. It don't take this long to share. Oh, y'all, pray for us. Pray for us. All we got to do is scroll and read. Work with us. See, it ain't even. Okay, it's coming up slowly. Whew. It's freezing, though. Pray for us, y'all. Okay, Lisa. So we should be fine. We just going, oh, Lord, I got videos to share. We'll figure it out, y'all. We'll figure it out. Okay. So this is the article from the Hollywood Reporter that Casey Amos was telling us about. This is a picture. I think this was I think that's their mother. I think that's their mother, but I don't know who the other baby is. Oh, no, here, it tells us here. It's been a long time since I read that. So it says from left to right, this is John Amos with his son, KC, his first wife, Noni, daughter, Shannon, and goddaughter, Amy Gowdy, in 1972. So this is him, his two babies, and his goddaughter. Goddaughter probably ain't even if she's still here, didn't get to see him before he passed away. Or even after. Shameful. Okay, so it says John Amos and a family at war with itself. The acrimonious battle between the children of the 83-year-old Good Times legend as they fight over his care, his legacy, and his love. It's clear that in the final days, it was definitely a fight over his love because KC thought he was the only one whose love mattered. Oops. Hold on. I was trying to make it a little larger for y'all and me. Gotta take my glasses off. My eyes gone. I might be able to do it for a little while at least. In July, TV legend John Amos, 53-year-old son KC, ended up in a New Jersey jail after his 57-year-old daughter Shannon claimed that KC had sent her terroristic threats over text message that made her believe that her life was in danger. According to a police report, these included a photo of a rifle with a caption explaining that it can clean a turkey out from 3 football fields away. It was the latest in a series of sensational headline-grabbing episodes involving the siblings this year. That was in 2023. Remember this article? Oh, I didn't tell y'all yesterday I told you, but this article is from, what was it, November of 2023? What the hell is the date? Oh, this just covered it. Oh, November 10th of 2023. So this is from November 10th of 2023. So it was the latest of a series of sensational headline-grabbing episodes involving the siblings this year, or in 2023. They've been locked in a bitter dispute over their father's care, with accusations of elder abuse slung in each direction. Yet behind the scenes, The Hollywood Reporter has learned through discussions with all 3 Amoses that the situation is both more and less than it seems. And they get into it. The painful saga goes back decades and provides an unsettling X-ray on the family life of a man who became an icon, especially among generations of African Americans, for playing the paternal familiars, James Evans Sr. on Good Times. The claims and counterclaims conjure gothic drama, infirmity, obsession, revenge, deceit, and madness. This sounds like a movie, y'all. Y'all think this is gonna be on Netflix? Just put that in the poll. What poll I got up here? You gotta close it out. Oh, have you read the November 20? Have you read this article about his kids feuding? 22% of you have, 78% of you have not. Okay, so it's good we read. So everybody be aware. We all be on one accord by the end of this. Each of his kids, he a music video director and editor, she an entertainment executive turned medicine healer, believes they're innocent and the other is nefarious. Their 83-year-old father, who has in the past toggled his trust between his offspring while making clear he loves them both, detests that his family life has become gossip fodder. He's quoted as saying, "Whatever we're going through is our business, not the business of the public," he says. You know, he an old school celebrity. Old school celebrities didn't put out their real business. Everything was, I just seen Donna Hammond talking about some Tubi. It's only Tubi worthy. He's a real celebrity and a legend, though. You don't think he can make it to Netflix? But, you know, he old school. So they wasn't no such thing as no social media showing them making cereal in the morning and putting diapers on the baby and stuff. They wasn't putting their whole life out there and dropping the kids off at school and all that. He old school. He media training old school celebrity. So we ain't supposed to know nothing about his real life except for the pieces he tell us about. Now everything got there because of those silly children. Mainly his old crazy son, but that's another story. Yet the warring siblings, in their attempt to vanish each other, have shown a common willingness to trump that desire for privacy by leveraging social media platforms, and in their dealings with the Hollywood Reporter, by putting forward confidential documentation to press their respective cases, even if it might undercut or embarrass their father. So this is where the article, what I loved about the article was that they kept it real in the sense of they kind of came for both of them at points, but it definitely showed that KC is the one with the main issue. KC's the source. For all their differences, both KC and Shannon understand the value of storytelling. So he's saying they're both good at crafting the story because they both were born and raised and bred in the entertainment industry. So he's like, don't take it for granted that both of them know how to craft a story. Can't just take everything at face value. I understand what you're saying. Says their father impressed upon them that if they must work in Hollywood, they should stay away from acting and instead pursue behind the scenes careers where they might be the ones making the true creative decisions and determining the framing of narrative visions. In this battle, they're each pitching. 70s sitcom star in trouble with his bipolar, drug-addicted son exploits him on TikTok, and his shaman daughter comes to the rescue. Shannon says, drafting a log line. That's what it looks like. It's crazy. For his part, KC, invoking and appropriating his father's most prestigious starring role as an enslaved protagonist of Roots, notes that his several-day stay in the New Jersey jail that resulted from his sister's accusations, he was quoted as saying, "It's true false imprisonment. I became Kunta Kinte." He was quoted in this by this reporter. KC said, "It's true false imprisonment. He became Kunta Kinte." That's him and Daddy. KC was looking rough back then. This must have been one of those rough patches in life. He look a little more healthy now. He wasn't looking too healthy back then. We all know why. I'm just saying. He'll be looking like this again soon. I believe he's going to be looking like that again soon. Since earlier this year, John Amos has been traveling the country with KC on TikTok. His son has depicted their journeys like a buddy comedy, while Shannon the other members of the actor's personal and professional circles have regarded the spectacle with unease, especially because it has included stays at medical facilities in multiple states. So busy dragging his daddy around the country that when was having medical issues, he wasn't at home with his primary care physicians and hospital. He was going to random places. Y'all know you can't be hopping doctors and medical facilities if you're trying to get a certain quality of care, because everybody got to learn you all over again and learn what your records are and what medications you're on and this and that and guessing this and guessing that. Having you do stuff that's already been done, putting you on a medication you was just on 3 years ago to stop working and they took you off of it. Now they putting it back on because they ain't know no better. You know, all that. It's not good health care for an 83-year-old. But you got to care, right? You got to care. In October, they arrived in Los Angeles to take business meetings. Soon after, the Hollywood Reporter met them for lunch at the Marina Del Rey Hotel. KC, in a psychedelic shirt and wafers, vacillated between being solemn, upset, and casually loose as he appears on TikTok. This reporter just talked about mood swings. That's another word. Now, see me, I'm not a prolific writer. So I would have said, yeah, when I was there, y'all, KC had mood swings. That's what I would have said. He was mood swings. Went from being solemn to upset, raging, to then being casually funny like he appeared and silly like he appeared on TikTok. That's called mood swings. All in the same amount of time during an interview? Somebody getting all your emotions during an interview? Something ain't right about that. Where he's, so they said he casually loose as he appears on TikTok, where has amassed almost half a million followers by posting a substantial amount of content involving his dad. Yes, he was using his dad to build his platform. We are clear on that. John Amos, who was in a wheelchair, was far more even-tempered, like a normal person would be. He was fielding questions in his signature dignified baritone with no nonsense sharpness, although he nodded off half an hour into the conversation. So John Amos, again, 83 years old, he's in a wheelchair, being drugged around to interviews and stuff. This man should be enjoying his golden year. We now know that was literally, he only had less than a year left to live. And his son dragging him around to help squeeze the last bit of promotion he could get, self-promotion he could get while using the celebrity of his daddy. Shameful. And I'm going to forget, so I'm going to tell the story now. And I didn't have time to pull everything. But I showed when I talked about this last year, I also received an email from one of our people. This particular person had actually interacted with both KC and John Amos. They were at some kind of event that I think was like maybe a film festival of some sort. KC was trying to hawk his America's Dad documentary. And so our VPL person told me that they were talking to KC, etc. And John Amos was in the corner, like you could tell he was like exhausted and all of that. And he was in the corner dozing off. And it was like he clearly didn't need to be there. And so everyone was asking KC, like, is he okay? KC's like, oh, he fine. He just a little tired. And then he admitted, I think at that time, that his father had dementia. But yet he wasn't trying to get his father back, to wherever their hotel or wherever they needed to be. He was too busy around there smoozing and working the room while his father slumped over in a wheelchair. Like, that's my daddy over there. Y'all know that's John Amos, right? I'm his son. Y'all want to hear my pitch about my documentary? Because that's my daddy. Shameful, shameful. Goes on to say, although he nodded off half an hour into the conversation, meaning John Amos, prompting his son to gently nudge him. Like, hey, you can't be doing that right here. We got to act like, you're always alert. He asked about his health. When asked about his health, John Amos replied, I'm feeling pretty darn good for 83 years of age. Later in the month, a photo shoot for the story was canceled after he was admitted to Cedars-Sinai for what KC described as fluid retention issues. Shannon contends that this has to do with John's heart and is evidence. So his sister Shannon contends that issue has to do with John's heart and was evidence of the brother's alleged neglect. I think we can look back now a year later and say it seems to be pointing in that direction. The father and son were intent on making several things clear. They've been immensely enjoying their time together, bonding over their love of the Grateful Dead and the ongoing filming of a feature-length documentary about John titled America's Dad, which KC is directing. Then they hoped to soon close on an oceanfront property in Jamaica. Now, that must didn't happen because he probably would have been in Jamaica, which would serve as a sort of home base. So remember, originally, John Amos lived in Colorado, which is where Shannon then found out about his deplorable living conditions. Then all of a sudden they end up in LA. While in LA, KC talking about they trying to close on a property in Jamaica. Sound like a bit of running to me. Sound like I'm trying to run while I could, by the time he passes away, get everything nobody can get to me, legally or otherwise. Although John, who reprised his role as Cleo McDowell in the 2021 sequel of Coming to America, had no plans to stop booking acting gigs in his 9th decade. He was quoted as, to spend the rest of my life sitting there contemplating the waves, not when there are so many stories to tell. So he wasn't looking forward to retiring and all of that. He wanted to keep working as long as he could. Probably why he thought he was reading a script when Casey put it in front of him and said, "Who these people?" He was like, the script says you're supposed to say, "These the people who got me." The white folks, the video I just showed y'all, just in case some people lost what I'm saying. Marianne said, "Vel, you'll be getting another email from him after seeing this." So I ain't scared. So you're gonna be to ran through that money, or you're gonna have enough money to send me even an attorney letter. Probably. Let me slow down. They didn't see the fuss that some of those close to them had made about the recent TikToks being too silly or debasing or just generally cheapening John's stature. They were so goofy and cringy. Some of y'all loved it though. Oh, they were so cringy to me. Several of those same individuals reiterated their concerns to the Hollywood Reporter, although they declined to state them on the record, out of concern for future straining their relationships with the actor. The duo saw them as lighthearted vignettes, riffing on old Three Stooges skits, lip syncing to McFadden's and Whitehead's "Ain't No Stopping Us Now," and didn't mind the perks of being influencers. KC said, "A gentleman sent us a $1,700 walker." Did it get pawned? Where's that walker now? Did it even ever get used by Mr. Amos? "We've been offered top of the line jacuzzis, top of the line lounge chairs." But Shannon, the one taking advantage of her daddy and is being accused of financial and elder abuse. Okay. They said they'd abandoned the rural high altitude town in Colorado where John had been living since 2018. For one, the thin air was contributing to his respiratory challenges. For another, they became convinced that he'd been a victim of financial predation by a group of people he knew there. So that's supposed to be the white folks. Again, KC, wouldn't this be your time? You got the attention of the Hollywood Reporter, a national media outlet with millions of readers, and the bloggers who pick this stuff up. So wouldn't this be the time to point those people out, give some details so the internet could do their work you claimed? Instead, it's just very vague. Some people who victimized him, a group of people there. Okay. The article goes on to say, when together, there was minimum daylight between them regarding Shannon. KC noted that Shannon had been a bully to him since they were children. So he going back to their childhood. She my older sister, and she was always telling me what to do. She will always be turning the TV. I be trying to watch Daddy on Good Times, and she be turning to the My Little Ponies. She hated me. So he said that Shannon had been a bully to him since they were children. Maybe she was just trying to keep you off drugs. That's not called being a bully. That's called being a caring sibling. Put that pipe down. Put that pipe down. That's her loving you. That ain't bullying. I'm not bullying you. I'm just stating facts. Hoping you'll one day realize the errors of your ways. But he declined to otherwise speak ill of her. So he just said she was a bully as a child, but he wouldn't speak ill of her otherwise. John, ascribing their dynamic to sibling rivalry, wouldn't do so either. John Amos was quoted as saying, "I love my daughter. She's very bright," he said. In the final analysis, I think she means well, even if she might be going about this the wrong way by trying to save him, obviously. He noted that there are often differences between family members. He was quoted as saying, "Most times it's less than what's been going on here." I don't know, Mr. Amos, John Amos. It seemed like there was a hell of a lot. So this is an old picture of them from 1988. They look like a 1988 picture, don't it? I think they were close back then. We're about to, I think slowly this article gonna get into what happened. Afterwards, however, KC sent the Hollywood Reporter an unsolicited video clip of John speaking to Shannon while seated on a hotel room toilet. The camera was surreptitiously recording through the crack in the doorway, as well as audio of an hour-long June 2023 call between his father and the lawyers, in which the actor missed no words about his daughter. Remember, we played that yesterday. Because of these tech issues, I ain't gonna try to overwhelm the system by pulling it up again. He says, I have reason to believe that I've been, this was what John Amos said in the clip we watched yesterday. He says, I have reason to believe that I've been taken advantage of financially, emotionally, and in every way you can imagine as an elder. Now, meanwhile, when he face to face with the Hollywood reporter, he not saying not a nan bad word about his daughter. But then on that video, when he's allegedly talking to an attorney, he's saying that she's taking advantage of him financially, emotionally, and in every way you can imagine as an elder. And then he goes on to say, I attribute most of this maltreatment to my daughter, Shannon Amos, who is estranged from me. He was adding that he's aware of her efforts to falsely vilify KC. Yeah, you can tell KC wrote that. Maybe he was telling his daddy, Dad, I have a role for you. I got a script. They want you to read this, but you could just use Shannon's name for the girl, or the name is Shannon. And he's like, oh, Shannon, that's my daughter's name too. Yeah, that happens to be the name of the character. So here's the script, Dad. Read this. And then we're going to get on the phone, and it's going to be the producer. And the producer is going to be acting like the attorney. And so you'll tell him that Shannon is taking advantage of you in every possible way, financially, emotionally, blah, 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 as an elder. And KC is innocent. KC is innocent. Yes, the other character name happened to be KC too, just like mine. And action. Ooh. The aspersions on this, the aspersions that she cast on my son. Oh, this is what James Amos goes on to say. The aspersions that she cast on my son are lies, and we've got to combat that. We just can't sit back and be passive. I want it to stop. Nip it in the bud. It's so sad, y'all. It's so sad. Shannon rejects the accusations out of hand. She's quoted as saying, my brother has been brainwashing him. John's goddaughter, Amy, who spoke with him shortly after KC first circulated a short clip of the call this past summer, said the actor claimed no recollection of speaking so vehemently against Shannon. Shannon and KC are John's only children from his first marriage with Noel Noni Milkerson, whom he met at Colorado State University. Noni was white, a Jew from a small town in Iowa who'd majored in fine arts. They wed in 1965, 2 years before the Supreme Court's landmark Loving decision, which ruled against laws banning interracial marriage. So they got interracially married before it was actually legal. After graduation, the couple moved to John's native New Jersey and earned their living as social workers. An artist and free spirit, Noni encouraged her husband's performing aspirations when his first dream of playing pro football floundered. He broke into the Greenwich Village stand-up scene and then, more lucratively, the entertainment industry. Being an artist herself, she understood, this was John Amos being quoted as saying, being an artist herself, she understood my reluctance to accept a 9-to-5 world. Been there, done it. Noni moved with a young Shannon to Los Angeles as John booked TV commercials and then a 1-2 punch of sitcoms that would make him a household name. The weatherman Gordon Howard on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, followed by James Evans Sr. on Good Times. The Amoses raised their children in Sylmore on a property featuring horses because Noni was a talented equestrian. They bordered a expanse of northern San Fernandino Valley. At first, this was idle with pool parties and cookouts populated by the likes of Ben Vereen and Margaret Avery. Then it wasn't. So at first they had a bunch of Hollywood friends there, and then all of a sudden they didn't. I guess Black Hollywood, Black excellence. When he was working, he was the best. Shannon was quoted as saying, when he was working, he was the best dad. And when he wasn't, he spiraled into rages. She remembers him self-medicating for old football injuries, as well as his emotional pain through her childhood by smoking cannabis and ingesting Vicodin, Valium, Oxycontin. KC was, she said that KC was too young to remember that. Shannon, at 9 years old, was 9 years old when her parents separated. She recalled her mother losing her hair, weight, and she said even maybe her sanity. She was quoted as saying, "I think my mom had a nervous breakdown." KC, intelligent and introverted, sensitive and skinny, retreated around his larger-than-life, largely absent father, who moved in with his second wife, actress Lillian Lehman from Law and Order and General Hospital. Stroger willed Shannon says John could be playful, funny, and supportive, as well as threatening and even brutal. She says she remembers receiving a black eye on her 13th birthday after telling him he was violating Noni's restraining order by appearing on her property. In response, John said, "It's not in my DNA to disrespect women." The racism had been asymmetric burden during John and Noni's marriage. She didn't really see the world in black and white. She was very naive, Shannon said. For John, who spoke privately as well as publicly about his frustration with the characterization of African-American life on Good Times, he was written off of the show after its third season. It was a constant torment, whether at a gas station or in a renting an apartment or on the family road or trip. Long after becoming a TV icon in meetings with Hollywood decision makers, he was being told that he was too black, he was too ugly, his nose was too big, said Shannon. They talk about him like he was an animal. Even though he'd been in like 70 projects, he'd still be asked to read. He'd be so upset. His white peers would just be called in at that point. John discouraged his kids from following in his acting footsteps. When they persisted in showing interest in the business, he guided them behind the scenes where he believed they could obtain and wield power. KC had a promising start as director, landing a Grammy nomination for Best Long-Form Music Video from James McCurdy's Where You Hide the Body. I'm going to have to check that out. I forgot all about this. In 1996. And then seeing a short earned an honorable mention in the 1997 Sundance Film Festival. He went on to develop a career in music videos for artists including Mac 10, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, Fat Joe, and Big Pun. Meanwhile, Shannon worked in the entertainment production, first on Yo MTV Raps and for BET programs, then at Warner Brothers as an executive handling marketing campaigns for movies, including I Am Legend and Blood Diamond. In 2003, when KC made his first feature in an indie blaxploitation spoof starring John called The Watermelon Heist, Shannon produced it. For the siblings who together attained the Grammy telecast when KC was nominated was a nominee, the collaboration was a big high point. KC recalls Shannon, though, had a different takeaway. She was quoted as saying, "I negotiated the straight-to-video deal." And then she said, "He stiffed me, and I was really pissed about it." However, KC denies it. Just like KC would probably do. So you see, now this is look like they were good. They had a great relationship, or at least a good enough relationship, until their young adult years, when they ended up working on this project together. She negotiates for him to get a straight to video deal and make money. And then he stiffs her of her profit share. Money related. Look like it was all down here from there. Shannon spoke to the Hollywood Reporter by phone and video from her home in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, where she facilitates ceremonies for international visitors. She's quoted as saying, "I'm in the work that I do now because I came from a family that struggled with addiction issues and mental health challenges and generational trauma." She was quoted as saying, "I've had to do a lot of work on myself to remove myself from that chaos." So it's part of why she went out of the country. While it's clear in a word and deed that Shannon is furious with her brother, her disposition abidingly mellow, except for moments of knowing laughter and a few tears, doesn't betray it. She was quoted as saying, "This has been going on so long. There's nothing he could say or do at this point that could get my blood pressure up." I don't think she could dream of him having their father pass away and waiting 45 days to let her know. I'm sure this got her pressure up on so many levels. This was a year ago. She couldn't even fathom this. She adds that she helped by her family support system, as well as meditation, yoga, microdosing. And then she was quoted as saying, "holding a space for other people and regular visits to the ocean." Shannon says she's supplied extensive documentation to law enforcement agencies in Colorado and New Jersey to investigate her claims of KC's elder abuse, that over time he consolidated authority over his father and his affairs, as well as isolating him from members of his inner circle. So this was a process. This slowly, he was, again, consolidating his authority. I guess they're firing the business manager. No, I'm handling all of his acting work from here on out. Slowly, he pushes the accountant out. We read that yesterday. We know the business manager was pushed out. The accountant was pushed out. Grandchildren, goddaughters, brother, daughter, everybody was pushed out slowly, except for his co-conspirators. She says, "This has not only affected me, but his grandchildren, his nieces, people he's worked with, and friends he's had for decades." She contends that her brother has impersonated John in communications, disregarded his medical needs, mishandled his finances, and exploited and eroded his legacy, all of which her brother rejects. That's them in, I guess, happier days. What is this? This is Casey and Shannon at the 1997 Grammys, which they called a high point of their relationship. This was the good old days. He looked a bit healthier. Probably was only getting high on the weekends then, allegedly. Shannon presented copious materials to the Hollywood Reporter in her attempt to substantiate her position, including the assertion that while her father can appear acute in a span of an interview, it doesn't capture what she and others close to him believe has been a diminishing day-to-day capacity. As evidence, she made available the 2016 hospital record in which a doctor made a preliminary assessment of John, that John might have dementia. Shannon asserted, "I don't want to control my father. I want a conservator." So she's like, I don't even want to do it. I want a professional to be his conservator. John later responded through his publicist. The publicist is that woman who was impersonating Shannon too. I saw some of y'all mention that yesterday in the chat, and I forgot to mention that part. So one of his co-conspirators, what's her name, Bonita or something? She's acting like she the publicist, but she also was acting like she was his daughter when John Amos was in the hospital before he passed. They said John later responded through his publicist. This the Bonita woman, the daughter, fake daughter. Quoted as saying, "I have never had an issue with my faculties, including my speaking, writing, communications, work, and living as a whole person with comprehension of my surroundings." What? He didn't write that. He did not write that. She explains that she left the entertainment industry and became a healer after a transformative experience involving her mother, which shadows and informs the current situation. In 1996, Noni, who'd long since remarried a Disney special effects engineer and settled into a peaceful life on a ranch north of Los Angeles in Santa Clarita, became blind and a quadriplegic after a routine hysterectomy that went awry, resulting in an aneurysm, then a stroke. Her second husband, who successfully sued for malpractice, became a devoted caregiver. In 2005, he died from pancreatitis. She was quoted as saying, "I think he died from the stress. One of my saddest moments was taking my mother to the hospital to take him off of life support. She cried for days. She asked me at one point to put a plastic bag over her head. The siblings sharply disagreed over how to handle their mother's widowhood. Shannon, by then a single mother, wanted to care for her in Atlanta, where she said she was considering a job opportunity. KC, who was divorced and without children, wished to retrofit a property where he lived in Woodland Hills, at a western edge of the San Fernando Valley. Each of the proposed arrangements would be made possible by Noni's malpractice settlement terms, paid monthly, as well as her own estate assets. So the mom had her own estate. On top of that, she was getting monthly payments from the malpractice settlement. And ain't no telling how much that was. That's probably a few $1,000s a month. After a protracted tug of war, KC prevailed, as he did this time too with the daddy. Shannon contends that her brother skimped on her mother's care, declining to hire overnight attendants even while he regularly left the home in the evenings. Now, mind you, we just read that the mom had a stroke and she was paralyzed and blind, and he leaves her in the house alone? What if there's a fire or some kind of other emergency? How does your mama get to safety? Shannon said she would say that she would call out and nobody would answer, that she needed somebody and nobody would respond. Shannon also asserted that KC misappropriated Noni's funds to help finance multiple low-budget films, as well as 4 property renovations beyond the scope of her needs, including a pool featuring a grotto and a slide system. All claims that KC dismisses. He like, that was nothing. I was able to, the grotto wasn't even nothing. That was just a few thousand. I had that money from one of my films that tanked. It went straight to video. They gave me $5,000. I built the grotto. Just dismissing it. She don't know what she's talking about. Shannon says her extensive outreach to the police and adult protective services proved fruitless. She was quoted as saying, "The challenge I had was that I could not show enough of a paper trail." She shared with the Hollywood Reporter a recording of a May 2021 conversation with her father in which he claimed he'd confronted KC about his son's misuse of his ex-wife's funds, By John's accounting, his son admitted to misdeeds, which blew me away, she was quoted as saying. This is the video I was playing for y'all yesterday. Let's try to pull it in. Pray y'all ban the KC voodoo computer doll. Banned it, y'all. Banned it. Try to play this for y'all. We're gonna watch the whole so y'all can see. This is the recording that they're talking about. And I'm gonna put a poll question. So she secretly recorded.
The opinion that he's still using.
Let me know how the sound is.
The opinion that he's still using and drugs and misusing me and my money. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Is that what the essence of this is?
Yes.
Okay. Then he needs to be confronted. We need to find out the truth because all of us are laboring under the assumption that he is, and it may be justified. It may be the case. Let's determine if that is the case. Let's sit down as a family, get face to face, and let him off. And if he cries or curls up or don't want to meet with you or don't want to see you, and he doesn't, that's clear. He's hid in the back of the car rather than let his presence be known the other day when we came up here looking for whatever it was I needed. So that's got to be dealt with. This issue has got to be dealt with. Because there's no sense in you making plans to try and leave something for Jazz and Kiera if he's got plans to spend it all on himself and drugs and whatever else it is he's buying.
I normally I don't even pause. I just let this play, but y'all hear John Amos himself saying we not gonna have him taking this money from the grandchildren if he gonna use it up on drugs, because John Amos had plans to leave his grandchildren and I guess other relatives some of his inheritance. This wasn't all for KC. So how do you explain this current situation? I'll rewind a little bit for some of y'all who might have missed that.
And Kiera, if he's got plans to spend it all on himself and drugs and whatever else it is he's buying, that needs to be confirmed. And the confirmation would be best done by a doctor. Yes, he has cocaine in his system. Yes, he's using. I see evidence of habitual use. And then that's it. I'm through with it. It's got to be in the hands of professionals. Because I saw him admit that he had misused your mother's money and her estate planning for his own benefit, buying this and that and whatever else he was buying. So he admitted it finally. I asked him one day, I said, did you misuse your mother's money? That's what you're being accused of. He dropped his head. He said, yes, I was. I thought that was the end of it in terms of misusing her money, that everybody was aware and that steps had been taken to stop him from doing that, however he was doing it. Now I'm being told, no, he hasn't stopped. He's still misusing it, still misusing drugs, misusing your money now. And the only way to stop it is to have a confrontation. I'm not going to bring no priest in and pray and all of that. Come in here and sit down, man. Tell me. Because I have asked him in the last couple of weeks, I said, are you using again? He said, no, I'm smoking, but I'm not using. So I said, well.
But an addict can't smoke.
I'm not here to argue with you as to who can do what, Shannon. I'm just stating facts, as you did and as I listened for as long as you talk. All I'm doing is just stating facts. So the only thing I propose to do is, he's at his motel or in his room at the motel. Go get him, bring him here, and let's have this conversation with the whole family. It's gotta happen. It can't go on. It can't continue. I don't have no family life now. You tell me, as bad as I want to be with Bill and you and Kiera, sit out in the car to 3 and 4 in the morning. At my age, 81 years old, sitting on this car, excuse me, Kiara, and y'all for using profanity as I talk to you. But what the hell? I said, I come in here, I can't sleep. All I can do is watch TV. Get up in the morning, 5 and 6 in the morning, can't sleep. Drive down to Willie's. That's my day. I said, I didn't want my life to be like this. Not here in Colorado. What am I running and hiding for? When the do I get some peace?
That was the part. What's happening here? What's happening? What happened? Oh, I did that wrong. That was the part I remember of John Amos saying, when am I going to get some peace? I thought that was in an article, but that's in that particular video. All he wanted was some peace in his final years. And he got a scrub of a son sitting there trying to take advantage of him and steal from the rest of the family. Shameful. Shameful. What poll I got out here? Oh, poll questioning. Do you think that Shannon was wrong for secretly recording this while trying to protect her father? 4% of you say yes. You aren't supposed to do anything you can to protect your parents if it's morally not frowned upon. 96% of y'all like, hell, I would have did it too. I would have did more. I would have hemmed him up. I would have been ready to hem Casey up with all this. Especially because we saw this. Well, I'm about to get more into it. I don't want to get too far ahead of the story. But as we're about to get into the story, that this is history repeating itself. This ain't new. This happened with the mama. Happened with the mama. Shannon was saying, this happened with my mama. What we watching play out. And now we have watched it fully play out. She warned us. She tried to warn the authorities. They like, sorry, we didn't see him with no rope around your dad's neck. We think he okay, we guess. We ain't got no findings. Should have did a drug test on him. Maybe would that have been enough? Oh, let me share the article again. Sorry, y'all. About to start reading, ain't sharing the article. Hold on. Look like our technology. KC might be. Let me stop. Let me slow down. I was gonna say KC might be busy right now, so our system working. I gotta work fast. He might be nodding right now, if y'all know what I mean. He might be nodding, so let's hurry up and get through this before you wake up. He pull out his computer voodoo doll again on us. After Noni died in 2016, Shannon quit her Hollywood job and bought a one-way ticket to Bali. That's where I got Bali from. I thought she was in Bali. Embarking on a year-long off-the-grid trip that led to her professional shift. She contends that Noni's passing marked a consequential transition for KC too. A month after she died, a SWAT team disarmed him during what it took to be an acute mental health crisis, and he was placed on involuntary hold at a local hospital. So I guess the guilt of what was done to his mama possibly, allegedly, might have made him have a mental health crisis. I was trying to find out, make sure I'm reading ahead a little bit, so I don't want to skip any parts. Okay, so yesterday, I don't think I showed this to y'all yesterday, and this is a very important part of the story. So so we talked about the mother, and we talked about he was the caregiver, and he was allegedly neglectful, and the mom was blind and paralyzed and left in the home pretty much every evening for hours by herself. Who does that? Who does that? But there were other allegations related to her care and evidence of it. One of the things is that she was so neglected because, again, he didn't have caregivers coming to take care of her. It was whatever he did when he felt like, if he felt like doing it. One of the things you have to do with a person who's bedridden is you have to shift them around so they don't get bed sores. In her case, with her being a quadriplegic, you got to move their extremities so that their muscles don't atrophy. I struggle with that word. Well, that wasn't happening with her. So somebody took pictures of her mom towards her final time on this side of heaven, where her body had started to curl up because nothing was being done. She wasn't getting any movement. Here's other photos. I just put them all together. That was the condition of his mother before she passed. Shannon knew this. Shannon tried to warn us. Well, I was listening. Unfortunately, everybody wasn't. Her mama. And he was the caregiver. How the hell does he then become the caregiver of his daddy? And we watched the same ish go down again. There's a special place for you, I tell you. If you get away with it on this side on earth, trust me, you will not get away with it in eternity. I don't think you're going to get away with it on earth, to be honest. Anyway, at one point, Shannon reconciled with KC, who she came to believe was a well-meaning but troubled figure. But they fell out again when she alleged she found illicit drugs in his car, which he denies. She was quoted as saying, "This is not a sibling rivalry," she insists. "This is about a sibling who is struggling with addiction and mental health issues and a codependent parent who can't take care of himself, who is enabling him." Casey denies that he struggled with illicit substances or psychological illness and expressed skepticism about the legitimacy of Shannon's own serious medical challenges in recent years, which resulted in her father providing financial assistance. She responded, and she quoted as saying, "Black women are constantly dismissed when it comes to healthcare. So I think it's sick that he would question that." Her answer kind of vague too, but whatever. Because he basically, like, "I ain't never had no drug issue, even though your daddy said it." That's why I can keep saying it, because your daddy said it on that audio tape. He literally said that you got a drug problem. And what his concern was that you was going to get a hold of his money and run through it with your drug use. Your daddy said that. Your daddy said it and we thinking it. Shannon says the relationship reached a new low earlier this year. This is 2023 we're talking about. Earlier in 2023, when she learned that their father, whose health had been worsening, had been hospitalized once again while traveling with KC. Over the preceding couple of years, he spent an increasing time with John. In recent months, seemed to be capitalizing on the closeness with his burgeoning TikTok presence. So she said he started spending more time. The more his TikTok was growing from his having his daddy in it, the more time he started spending with his dad. Shannon notes that John hadn't been seeing his doctors as regularly as he should be, a rare point on which Casey agrees. Although he contends it's not for lack of urging on his part, he was quoted as saying, KC, "I let people make their choices. I believe in free will." So he's saying, well, yeah, I agree. He ain't been going to his doctor's appointments regularly, but hey, I believe in people having their choices. He ain't want to go. I ain't going to make him go. I believe in free will, even if it ends my father's life quicker. Why? Because I got a life insurance policy on him. Because I inherit it. If he go quick, oh well. Ooh, dirty work. By June, Shannon went public with the elder abuse and neglect allegations. She also launched a GoFundMe campaign requesting up to $500,000 in assistance with legal expenses, long-term care, ongoing medical treatment, and the costs associated with his recent hospitalization in another state away from home. While the appeal was short on specifics and didn't name her brother, it did say that donations would aid in holding the perpetrator accountable. Yet after John, in a video that Casey helped circulate, disavowed Shannon's effort and named her as the problem party, she took down her GoFundMe page and was left on the defense. That's when y'all turned on her. Y'all like, she a scammer. She trying to scam. She a horrible person using her daddy name to try to scam us, trying to act like something being done to her, done to him with his perfect son, KC, who on TikTok doing buddy comedy skits with him and singing karaoke. He a good son. He spent a lot of time with his daddy. There was some of y'all doing that. Trust me, I know it. I was reading y'all comments. She was quoted as saying, "I do not want or deserve to have my reputation dragged." It's John Amos and some of his legendary roles. Kunta Kinte. No, he wasn't Kunta Kinte. What was his name in the role? Oh, he was Kunta, the older Kunta Kinte. That's right. A week after the Hollywood Reporter met with his father, KC screened a rough cut of his 2-hour documentary, America's Dead. Is this documentary done yet? Is it done, Casey? In a dark hotel room suite in Marina del Rey. It covers John's early life, meteoric career rise, and reconciliation with Good Times creator Norman Lear, the one who fired him because he didn't, because John Amos wanted positive black male role models when there really weren't many on air. He got fired for that. At one point, John recalls a UFO sighting. The quote was, "It was a light that appeared and took off." At another, he's shown accepting traditional cloth garments from the film commission in Morovia, Libya. Yeah, I'm getting tired, so I'm struggling. The quote, and then he was quoted as saying, "I feel like a kidnapped child who has been brought home. This is the biggest honor I've received in my career." The film doesn't delve into his private life. There's little mention of his wives or kids. Oh, Casey crafting his own little story. Afterwards, KC expressed bafflement about his sister's allegations. That's what he sees as his pure-hearted role in caretaking. His mother has been recast as cold-hearted. What? That's what he sees as his pure-hearted role in caretaking. His mother has been recast as cold-hearted, that he in any way misappropriated her money, which he denies, that he wouldn't have his father's best interests top of mind, and that his sister, who he refers to only as the other sibling, has mounted such a vigorous, long-running effort not just to remove him from what's become his managerial role in his father's life, but also, Casey puts it, to unalive him. Casey, some people saying, when I was reading my replay chat yesterday, some people were saying that that's what you in fact did, and that's why it took you 45 days. Now, I didn't say it. They said it. Them here in the comment section here in the chat. That's what some of them were saying yesterday. In this, KC points to Shannon's proclivity for contacting law enforcement. He was quoted as saying, "She's called the police on me 24 times. That means you be up to some shenanigans. Ain't nobody getting the police called on them 24 times just for nothing. Until she finally succeeded in New Jersey," he said. Shannon thinks that number is exaggerated, although she doesn't deny it's been a lot. She contends it's mostly for the wellness checks for my mom. Whenever they showed up, he thought it was against him. So she was worried for her mom too. Nevertheless, KC cast Shannon as a hypocrite for marching in a 2020 Black Lives Matter protest about police brutality while initiating what he perceives to be unnecessary encounters that could have, as he was quoted, eventually ended with me facing a similar fate as George Floyd. This man loved to be the martyr. He loved to compare himself to public figures who faced grim fates. First, Kunta Kinte, fictional character. Wait, is Kunta Kinte fictional? But anyway, Kunta Kinte from Roots. Then George Floyd. Now I'm waiting to hear about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. When he gonna compare himself to them? As for the New Jersey episode this past in the summer of 2023, he claimed that Shannon edited his text that y'all can't see it. I'm getting pop-up windows on my side. Text that landed him in jail after he cut off contact. So they sounded like he was threatening her with guns when he was simply informing her about his ability to protect their father from the purported financial fraudsters who they believe pilfered from John's bank accounts in Colorado, a free carry state. So he threatened her, talking about he could clear a whatever he said, some kind of animal from clear across a football field. But he said he was only talking about those white folks he keep pointing out, that he ain't saying what they did and how they did it. He was quoted as saying, "Hey, nothing's going to happen to our father." He's also contends that Shannon recording of John acknowledging KC's misuse of Noni's estate has been coerced. Like he's done everything. Explaining, he's quoted as saying, "If you talk to my father late at night and plant a camera and start talking bad about a person, you can lead somebody and confuse them. She simply hid a camera and hacked it together." So he's explaining what he's been doing with his father. He tells you here, if you talk to my father late at night and plant a camera and start talking bad about a person, you can lead somebody to confuse them. That's what you've been doing, your dad. That's how you got him to say that Shannon was the issue, that Shannon was really abusing him, and that you're perfect, and that she's been saying horrible untruths about you, and it needs to be stopped. Is that how you got that to happen? Because you said if you talk to your father late at night, was it late at night that this happened? You wait till he out of it, then you get him to talking, and then you record it. Shannon says she can't speak to what put KC in a New Jersey jail because the court case is still pending, although she denies any record tampering. KC says his sister has engaged in a crusade of character assassination in hopes of making him seem as if he puts it unfit. This includes claiming that he is emotionally unstable and has a dependency on hard drugs when he only has an affinity for marijuana laced with a little fentanyl. Now, let me stop. Allegedly. A little marijuana laced with, take your pick. He was quoted as saying, "She's some kind of self-proclaimed doctor asking if I have Asperger's." He said, although he acknowledges that he operates on his own wavelength, that means touched, y'all. That means touched. That's another way to say touched. We just be like, oh, Casey, he don't mean no harm. He operates on his own wavelength. That means touched. For those of y'all who didn't know. He was quoted as saying, "My video editor friends, we joke. He says you have to be at least an outpatient to have that level of focus. As for the time he was involuntarily hospitalized, KC claims that Shannon was responsible for getting it into his ex-girlfriend's head that this was going to be a good idea to have me swatted. So she told the ex-girlfriend, my brother, your man, I know he good to you and he's sane and he never did nothing in life. Let's SWAT him. I'm gonna call the police to raid your home to pull him out, and hospitalize him and put him on a hold. What is it, 5120 or something, y'all? What is it called? 5120 maybe? Put him on a psych hold just for fun, just for ish and giggles. And the girlfriend was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. Okay, Casey. To all of this, Shannon responds, she's quoted as saying, I feel bad for him. He's really delusional. She's like, I feel bad for him. He's really delusional. If nothing else, the Amos siblings agree on the high drama of their shared tale. Shannon says, my family story is such a movie. Some of y'all saying it's only to be worthy. I'm seeing y'all comments. Only 5150. Thank y'all. Shannon says, Casey, considering if and how he might incorporate the last chapter of John's life into the final cut of America's Dad, he explains that John has, and he quoted as saying, this proud trunk growing, and then this other limb that's gnarly. Okay, whatever. John is, by contrast, resistant to directly addressing his personal affairs, but he'll allow that challenges he's privately faced as a father over the years since he played James Evans Sr. has deepened his capacity as an actor. He was quoted as saying, every life experience I've had, the good, the horrible, has changed me for the better. I can see that. The end. The article seemed so much longer the first time I read it when we read it last year. But yeah, that's our story, y'all. Rest in peace to John Amos. Praying for the family, the Amos family, those friends, extended relatives, associates, business associates, etc., who unfortunately were robbed of being able to say their final goodbyes, being able to celebrate his life. I guess you guys might have a memorial of some sort, hopefully. Shameful. This is all I saw. Okay, I only got a couple star questions. Let's see what y'all was talking about. A. Benson says, I'm sure all the life insurance money is gone now. Now, A. Benson, it's only been 47 days now. You think he went through the money in 47 days? I know we were voting on it yesterday. You think in 47 days he ran through the insurance money that quick? Now, I know some people were speculating that he probably waited 45 days to go through probate and switch ownership or whatever he could do, because now he had the death certificate and stuff. So that could be why he waited to 45 days, possibly to go through probate. Craziness, y'all. Craziness. Kazea, I think, was saying KC is grappling with grief. He didn't want to accept the harsh truth that his dad was dying. He was trying to preserve him by making his wildest dreams come true. Oh, I think this is maybe the narrative that KC has crafted in his head to justify his egregious behavior. I think you're being sarcastic with that. You said, don't mind, I have a propensity for rooting for the underdog and romanticizing villains. Ooh, I don't want to romanticize this villain though. Ooh, Because he's a piece of work. He's a piece of work. Alice is saying it's 41 days. Where I get 45 days from? Somehow I locked 45 in my head. But anyway, that is what we have for this story. Now, we'll keep an eye on it. If y'all see anything, just make sure I don't miss it. Any updates, send it to me in Telegram, or you can hit me up on any of my other platforms in a DM. Telegram is the best, though. Actually, put it on the screen, just in case you didn't know. You can reach me over on Telegram. Join where you can get notifications of when we're going live, et cetera, updates, random posts from me, etc. You can scan the QR code on your screen, or if you're already on Telegram, you can go to VIP and join our Telegram group over there. And we got plenty of stuff over there, different topics we talk about, etc. So there's so many other topics that we need to catch up on. It won't happen tomorrow because I got plans, but between the weekend and beginning of next week, I'll be coming to y'all with all the stuff I've been missing out on. The Tiffany Henyard stuff, the Mayor Adams, what's his name? Mayor Eric Adams in New York. We got a bunch of Darius Crooks updates to do. So I'm going to do a whole live on that next week. So, but yeah, with that, y'all have a good night. Please hit that like button if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And with that, until next time, until I upload the next video, make sure to take care and be blessed. Peace.